Because there's another part of the story which is fucking David Seymour.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
David Seymour is running rings around. Like, the word that I have for Christopher Luxon is feckless. You know, Bomber was very clear a couple of nights ago that Winston Peters, but particularly David Seymour, is doing what he wants, saying what he wants, and you can just see that he is the cat that's got the cream. He doesn't give a fuck. You know how you talk about really wealthy people having fuck you money? David Seymour has fuck you power right now over Christopher Luxon. Honestly, it's just a thing to behold. Let's have a look.
Crown Entities Minister David Seymour is refusing to back away from comments criticising how a TVNZ journalist reported on Christopher Luxon's accommodation allowance.
That's despite Seymour being a shareholding minister, which expressly forbids him directing the broadcaster on editorial matters. Here's political editor Jenna Lynch.
Never turning down an opportunity to get in front of a camera.
Alrighty, how can I help?
Not a sorry insight. David Seymour digging in over media criticism.
Chewy, I don't mean to spoil the surprise, but guess what News Hub do at the end of this story? Don't say it if you think what you know. Guess, and then we'll keep going.
I don't know.
Okay, let's wait and see.
I think part of the problem is some people are letting the side down and have absolutely no capacity for self-reflection.
This morning as TVNZ journalist.
The most ironic statement in the history of the world. David Seymour telling other people they have no ability for self-reflection. Something about pot kettle black, I think, maybe in there.
Were preparing to watch the axe fall on their newsroom. Seymour hit the radio waves and fired a missile at one of its reporters.
Benedict Collins grinning down the camera about Chris Luxon's apartment cost. And, you know, these are the people that cry, oh, you've got to give us sympathy and you're inhumane and you should be kinder to us.
The journalist in question, Benedict Collins, got under...
Who has ever said you have to give us sympathy and be kinder to us? Who has ever... This is Trumpian now because they puts out a narrative that his audience picks up on that then gets to be a withheld comment on our YouTube channel. Because who has ever said that? Be kind to us. This is the narrative he's painting. And no one in government, especially the feckless leader, is pushing back on it.
Seymour's skin during the election campaign by bringing to light past comments of ACT Party candidates comparing vaccine
you mean doing journalism?
mandates to Nazi concentration camps, among other things.
Benedict Collins doesn't seem to have anything better to do than talk about that.
Now, though, Seymour is a shareholding minister of TVNZ, and it is expressly spelled out in the Television New Zealand Act that no shareholding minister or any other minister may give a direction to TVNZ regarding the gathering or presentation of news.
Have you apologised to the Prime Minister for breaching the TVNZ Act?
Well, of course not. I haven't breached it.
I think politicians have, of all parties, probably think they get unfair treatment from the media, but the bottom line is you play a very important role in our democracy.
Overseeing TVNZ.
Again, I haven't seen the comments.
It's not the only...
Okay, this is a really important thing I want to put out there about a feckless leader. Right, you ready for this? I haven't seen the comments. I'm going to go away and come back in a sec as well.
Yeah, but the bottom line is you play a very important role in our democracy.
Overseeing TVNZ.
Again, I haven't seen the comments.
Right, I haven't seen the comments. Let me give you... I'm going to give you, when I can find it, evidence number 2. When he was asked about Winston Peters making inappropriate comments, what did Mr. Luxon say?
Luxon, were you comfortable with the comments that Mr. Peters made about the media yesterday?
I didn't see those comments, but I'm excited to get to work with this team.
Feckless. Like, feckless. So his response for these two people who are holding all the power at the moment, when they get out of step, is I haven't seen the comments. 2 things. You have a terrible press team then, or you're lying. Like, they're the only 2 options. You have a terrible press team or you're lying. And I don't think you've necessarily got a terrible press team. So, but there's 2 examples of the other 2 leaders making the coalition who have done things. By the way, that was about the PIJF. That was what the comments he hadn't seen. So it's to do with the media and it's to do with public money. That was what the other I haven't heard comments about. So this is what he does. He goes, I haven't heard the comments, and he's done it multiple times, and I've just given you evidence for that. Sorry, Cherry, you go.
I think the next stage is if something like that is posed to him again, then the reporter pulls out their phone and goes, "Would you like to see it so I can have you react to it live?"
Yeah.
We have that power at our fingertips now.
Yeah.
Like this
Cool.
this
Self-image.
thing of like, oh, I haven't seen the comments. I'm not aware of them. My team hasn't appraised me of it. I haven't read the document. Right. Well, let's do it together, live on air.
Yeah. I'll read it to you, sir. I've got good grammar. We'll keep going.
We need a leader
not the
with
only
an
time-
excess of thick.
Yeah, not feckless.
I'd be much happier to criticize a leader with just, man, he's got too much feck.
Yeah. Feck to the power of 10. That's what we want. Feck to the power of 10.
Seymour's taken aim at TVNZ, once complaining they'd found independent experts to interview rather than the ones he suggested, saying, "We put the journalist in touch with a pharmacist, an academic and a drug expert. What did they do? Interviewed 2 pharmacists who opposed the policy." The other tweet taking issue with TVNZ's chief correspondent, quoting and linking to a left-wing blog.
Do you stand by your tweet?
Yeah, I do.
David Seymour decried the death of democracy over Kitty Allen criticising
Very important point here when he criticises Labor for criticising RNZ. Interesting.
RNZ at her former partner's leaving do. He said at the time there's a real problem when the people who hold the purse strings aren't absolutely critically cautious about even the perception of interfering with the media.
Why does that?
And remember, we are about perceptions here. We have a certain hairless leader about the PIJF, which is to do with the media and stuff, who said this.
Well, for the very reason that it actually leads to perceptions of bias, rightly or wrongly. I just say to you, that's the perception. Whether that's real or not doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter if the perception is real or not. It's a perception. Here is Mr. Seymour saying the perception of interfering with the media is not okay when he's in opposition. When he's in government, though...
Why does that not apply to you?
Well, it actually does. The problem is the accusation is farcical.
TVNZ released a statement saying David Seymour has singled out One News reporter Benedict Collins for doing his job. We're not asking for sympathy, but are asking for our politicians to respect the independence of our media.
Did the Prime Minister talk to David Seymour?
No, I think it is my responsibility as Minister of Broadcasting to have a conversation with him, so I will.
She's spoken to you?
No, she hasn't, and it's not really her job, to be honest, but there you go.
It is his job, though, to keep his nose out of TVNZ's editorial decisions.
Well, our political editor, Jenna Lynch, joins us now. Jenna, is Seymour...
Hang on, I'm going to play... I know we don't normally play it to the end, but Jenna's got some good comments here, so we'll play her commentary as well. But there you go. You said it the other night that every time they talk about him, they should show it. They did it again.
safe in his job?
Sounding like the Prime Minister's not too pleased about it, and fair enough. It is a needless distraction from a minor coalition partner while he's trying to get through his 100-day plan. Christopher Luxon didn't take any action when Winston Peters had a swipe at the media, so kind of set a precedent, although there is a difference here in that David Seymour is a shareholding minister. He bears some ministerial responsibility. Now, as soon as this story is done with, I'm sure we will all hear David Seymour crowing from the rafters that the media is navel-gazing, and reporting this story proves his point. Funny thing is, he didn't think that when he was saying what he said around the Kitty Allen RNZ story. He has created the rod for his own back from his comments back then. If he's looking for someone to blame for this, he should look at himself.
So that's exactly what we've been saying, holding this government accountable to their own standards. And I'm going to play one more thing before we go, Troy, because this is what I'm talking about when I'm like, he has fuck you power over everything at the moment, because this is how he left that stand-up that we saw about. This is from TV1. You just watch how he leaves it. Watch the swagger.
Politicians have, of all parties, probably think they get unfair treatment from the media, but the bottom line is you play a very important role in our democracy.
In response to Seymour's criticism, TVNZ issued a statement saying Benedict Collins was simply doing his job, and that TVNZ is not asking for sympathy, but for politicians to respect the independence of the media so they can get on with their work. To be clear, TVNZ is a commercial company reliant on ad revenue. It is not government funded.
Every time a media outlet goes nuts about comments like this, they just prove my point, that media is lacking the ability to ask the simple question. Maybe it's the way that we're conducting ourselves that's led to our loss of audience share.
And that's what they call doubling down.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Katie Bradford, One News.
So there you go. There's the swagger, the arrogance, I'll say it again, the fuck you power. that David Seymour's got at the moment. And that fuck you is actually mostly aimed at Christopher Luxon, who at the moment is coming across as one with not enough feck. His is an inversion.
Weak.
He's a feck inversion.
Weak. He hasn't got control of his own government. He hasn't got control of his department heads. Sorry. Got to use the correct terminology. Just watching that clip of Seymour, what the fuck is wrong with his mouth? Why do his lips not work properly?
Yeah.
It's very strange. I am here for a news hub with nothing to lose.